First of all, Merry Christmas to all of you, wherever you may be. I hope that you are spending this day with your families, eating some delicious food, maybe even opening a few presents. So, today we're going to talk about how the royals are spending this very special day and also what Harry and Meghan and the Invisible Children might be up to in California. For me, more than anything, Christmas is a time to spend with loved ones. It's a time to look back over the year and think about all the blessings that have come into our lives. It's a time to look past our differences and think about how we can make the world a better place. But unfortunately for Harry and Meghan, this Christmas is not going to be a time of family togetherness. Instead, it's all set to be lonely and cold for the two of them in Montecito. According to the Daily Express, members of the royal family have already started arriving at Sandringham for the holiday festivities. On Christmas Eve afternoon, King Charles and Queen Camilla were spotted making their way to a traditional Christmas Eve service at St. Mary Magdalene Church on the royal estate in Norfolk. The king was greeting some well-wishers with a wave as he was walking to the church, and of course, he had his wife with him, his sister Princess Anne, Sir Timothy Lawrence, and his trusted equerry, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Thompson. I don't know about you, but it's always been a dream of mine to be in that crowd of well-wishers. I would just love to be able to catch a glimpse of the king and queen on their way to church on Christmas. Now, I know for me as an American, it's probably never going to happen, but if any of you have had that experience, please let me know all about it in the comments. I'm so jealous. So it sounds like the King and Anne and Queen Camilla were the first people to arrive, and then later on they're going to be joined by William and Catherine and their beautiful children. I'm already wondering, what is Catherine going to be wearing? She may be wearing something we've seen her in before, but whatever she has on, you know she's going to look perfect. Other extended members of the firm are also going to join the family at Sandringham. And for the first time ever, Queen Camilla's children and grandchildren have been invited to Sandringham. So Tom Parker Bowles and his younger sister Laura Lopez, along with their families, are going to head to Norfolk to join the family. On Christmas Day, the royals are also scheduled to attend a second service at St. Mary Magdalene Church before their Christmas Day lunch. And apparently, they even get weighed after their Christmas Day lunch. And they're also going to celebrate the New Year at Sandringham. So that makes me believe any of these reports we have heard about Meghan and Harry heading up for New Year is absolute BS. The royal family is still going to be at Sandringham, and they still don't want Meghan and Harry around. So let's talk a little bit about what is happening on Christmas Day. The royal family is going to make their traditional Christmas Day walk to church on Monday morning. Only a few people are allowed to join them inside the church, but people still have the chance to watch them before they get together for a sermon and hymns. Reportedly, they'll arrive right before 11 o'clock, and people are encouraged to get there early if they want to be able to see them. When they get to the church, the family is expected to be greeted by the Reverend Canon Dr. Paul Reese Williams before they walk up the steps to go inside the church. And once they're all settled, they're going to sing the national anthem, and then after that, they'll sing the first hymn, O Come All Ye Faithful. It truly is such a special time of year for the royals. In fact, even Harry has said that it's his favorite time of year, that the royals celebrate Christmas like no other family, and I think he's 100% right. So it has to hurt watching his family having such a wonderful time together and knowing that he's on the outside looking in. And it's not like it's only the king and the queen and the prince and princess of Wales. Many other family members are going to be there too. Of course, Princess Anne is already there. Her and her family are going to attend the service. Other members of the family, like Zara and Mike Tyndall, Edward and Sophie Wessex, with Lady Louise Windsor and James Viscount Severn will be there. And of course, Princess Beatrice with her husband Eduardo Mapelli Mozzi and his son Wolfie are going to be there. And we're not sure yet about Prince Andrew, but I think he's probably going to show up too, along with his daughter, Princess Eugenie, and her husband, Jack Brooksbank. I suspect they're all going to be there, so basically everyone in the family except for Harry and Meghan. Making matters worse for the gruesome twosome is the speculation that reportedly even Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, who joined the family at Sandringham this year. The relationship between Fergie and Andrew has always been pretty amicable since they got divorced way back in 1996, but even so, it sounds like things have really improved between them these days. It sounds like they're closer now than ever. You remember that right around the time the late Queen passed away, there were even rumors that Andrew and Fergie might get married again. I haven't heard anything about that lately, but as you know, Fergie was also ill and Andrew really helped her. He gave her a place to stay. So I think the two of them have a pretty decent, stable relationship. At this point, their relationship may be entirely platonic, but still, she is the mother of his children, so she's still a part of the family. While I'm sure it's hurting Harry to be away from his family at this time of year, I don't think the family is feeling that same kind of pain. In fact, according to some experts, the king is probably feeling relieved that Harry and Meghan didn't join. According to Ingrid Seward, who spoke with Hello Magazine, if he wanted to see his grandchildren, probably Christmas isn't the best time. There's too much going on, and he won't be able to concentrate on them. It would be far better when he sees them in a quiet moment some other time during the year. They will want to come and see him because they've got to keep a relationship going. I think Ingrid is making a very good point. I mean, first of all, you know my opinion is there are no grandchildren, but anyway, let's set that aside for now. If the king really wants to see his grandchildren, and Harry and Meghan really do want the children to have a relationship with their grandfather, Christmas is not the time to make that happen. I mean, that makes it clear that this is not about Harry and Meghan really trying to reconcile with the family. It's just about them trying to get some of that sweet, sweet publicity. If they really just wanted peace, they would show up at another time of year, a time when they can really have some alone time with the king. As for Harry, though, I suspect that he genuinely does want to be with his family for Christmas. I think spending time with Meghan and Doria in LA simply isn't cutting it for him. Let's remember what he said in that statement heard by the High Court during the hearing for his security trial. Harry said, quote, "The UK is my home. The UK is central to the heritage of my children, and a place where I want them to feel at home as much as where they live at the moment in the US. That cannot happen if it's not possible to keep them safe when they are on UK soil," end quote. So let's just ignore Harry's claims that the children would be so unsafe in the UK, because those claims are absolutely preposterous. But anyway, the sentiment here, I believe, is genuine. I really do think that Harry wants more of a connection with his homeland. After all, before he moved to California with Meghan, the UK was really all he knew, and that's still clearly the place where he feels most at home. Harry doesn't fit in LA. I mean, who does really? Meghan thinks she does, but I would say she doesn't fit in very well either. That's why she doesn't have any friends. For Megan, though, friendship has never really been at the top of her list of priorities. But Harry used to have friends. I mean, all while he was growing up, when he was a young man, he had a very close circle of friends. But Megan decided those friends weren't good for him, so she alienated him from everybody he ever knew. And now just look at him. He's absolutely miserable. And I think this time of year has to be the most difficult time of year for Harry because he really can see in sharp focus everything he chose to walk away from. But at the same time, Harry has to understand that he is the reason he cannot come back home. It's his behavior, it's his attacks against his father, his brother, and his sister in law. Even if King Charles were willing to forgive the pair, it's not like William is. As a friend of William's told the Daily Beast, the one saving grace of this whole situation is that they live 5,000 miles away. The idea of them coming back here will go down like a bucket of warm sick. There's no misunderstanding that statement. William doesn't want to be around Harry and Meghan at this point. He may never want to be around them again. And if that's hurtful to Harry, well, okay, but he needs to look at the reason why. He needs to look at his own behavior and understand that really he gave William no choice. Especially after the way that Scooby-Doo attacked Catherine in that dumb book Endgame. There's no chance of Harry making peace with his brother again anytime soon. I'm sure William was hurt by what Harry wrote in Spare, but at least most of that was attacking him personally, not Catherine. But Catherine is a different story. William is incredibly protective of her, and I'm sure he didn't take kindly to Catherine being portrayed as lazy and unable to think for herself in Endgame. Not only were those allegations completely false, they were also incredibly insulting. And I'm sure Megan is sitting there in Montecito right now telling Harry that they're better off without the Royals, that they didn't want to go anyway. But the truth could not be more different, even for Megan. I think on some level, even though she would never admit it, Megan knows what she's missing out on too. Megan did spend Christmas at Sandringham at the Royals in 2017 and 2018. Let's take a look at what she had to say about that experience. It's not quite as miserable as she wants to pretend it is today. Even though now, according to Scooby-Doo, Megan doesn't want to set foot in the UK ever again because she doesn't want to get sucked into the royal soap opera, she was telling a very different story about her experience at Christmas time. In the Netflix series Harry and Meghan, Meghan shared just how much she enjoyed celebrating Christmas with her in-laws. She said, quote, "I remember so vividly the first Christmas at Sandringham, calling my mom and she's like, 'How's it going?' And I said, 'Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's just like a big family, like I always wanted.' And there was just this constant movement and energy and fun." To me, that sounds like a woman who was being completely welcomed by the royal family, but let's see what else she had to say. She said, quote, "At dinner, I was sat next to H's grandfather, and I just thought it was so wonderful. And I was like, oh, we chatted and it was so great. And I talked about this and talked about this. He was like, you had his bad ear. He couldn't hear anything you were saying. I was like, oh, well, I thought it went really well." Well, honestly, it probably went so well because she had his bad ear. I doubt Prince Philip would have wanted to hear anything Meghan had to say. But anyway, it's clear that she had a good experience, that she felt welcome, that she felt at home with the royals. So then later on, the fact that she portrayed them as being so cold and cruel towards her was absolutely disingenuous, as well as such a slap in the face to the family that had treated her so well. Back in 2017, Harry also described Meghan's experience joining the family for Christmas. He told BBC Radio 4 Today's Show she really enjoyed it. The family loved having her there, and there's always that family part of Christmas. There's always that work element as well. And I think together we had an amazing time. He went on to say, "We had great fun staying with my brother and sister-in-law, running around with the kids, and Christmas was fantastic. And as I say, we are really looking forward to the new year." Reading these old quotes from Harry and Meghan really makes me see how tragic all of this is, how unnecessary. If only Harry and Meghan hadn't been so arrogant, they could have just stayed on as working royals, and they really could have been important family members. They could have enjoyed this feeling of family togetherness at Christmas. But no, they thought they knew better. They thought they were better. And so they just threw away what was an opportunity to be a working member of the royal family, to be with the family at all these important events, to be relevant. It sounds like back then Meghan really did have a chance. She even gave the late Queen a gift that the Queen absolutely loved. According to The Mirror, Meghan gave the late Queen some kind of singing toy hamster, and the Queen loved it so much that she said, "It can keep my dogs company," and she burst out laughing. According to a report from a source at the time, Meghan bought a little hamster that sings with a little rope for Her Majesty. It was so funny, especially when the corgis tried to take hold of the toy. But unfortunately, that little singing toy hamster, much like Meghan's potential as a working royal, ended up being completely destroyed. The dogs chewed up the toy. Meghan destroyed her own potential. We're also still not sure what Meghan and Harry are doing for Christmas Day in Los Angeles. We are hearing that they're going to spend time with friends and Meghan's mother, Doria, but last time I checked, they don't have any friends. So who's going to come over? Marcus Anderson, maybe? A source told Us Weekly that they'll be cooking, playing games, and swapping gifts. They have a tough time trying not to spoil the kids too much. I mean, how pathetic is that? It doesn't matter how much they try to convince us and themselves that they're having a great time in California. We know where they'd rather be. And I do hope this Christmas, Harry and Meghan can spend some time reflecting and consider how they got to this point. And maybe they can make some New Year's resolutions to change. Is it gonna work? I don't know, but at least they can try. And you, what do you think of the royal family Christmas? And what do you think of the Christmas that Harry and Meghan are having in California? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and share with anybody else who would appreciate it too. If you've got time, please head over to the King-Charles channel because they are still stealing all my content. Very annoying. I think my one Christmas wish is for that channel to start making their own content. Anyway, if you haven't already, please click subscribe so that you don't miss a single update. Thank you so much for your support. You have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.